What's going on, 49er faithful, 49er fan, 49er gang? This is your boy Niner Game Podcast back in the building. Definitely here, so definitely hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on the post notifications so I can keep you up to date on any and everything San Francisco 49ers. With that being said, man, let's get right on into it. So, really quick, we'll touch on the game that happened last night. Very shocking. One of my picks fell through. And I know I picked the Chiefs, but damn it, the Chargers came through. Shout out to my boy AC. Shout out to AC the barber. If you are in LA and you need your haircut, jump on Instagram, go to AC_barber. That's my man. He'll take you, chop you up, dumb nice. You know how you out there looking fresh. So basically, there was a game last night. You know what I'm saying? It's good morning, Mom. And just so you know, I'm all right, but I'm not all right. Just between me and you. That's the inside thing. But Chargers and the Chiefs played, so I know my uncle is happy. My boy AC is happy because the Chargers went and got that dub and they beat the lovely Chiefs. So let's take a look at that really quick. I'm going to pull up the score. We'll talk about that for just a couple seconds, and then we'll get into the meat and potatoes of the show because this is about the 49ers versus the Seattle Seahawks. But it would be wrong of me if I ain't talk about the Chiefs losing. As 49er fans, we'd love to hear those words. Chiefs and loss. Cowboys and loss? Oh, these are words that we live by. We die to hear them. So Chargers won the game 27-21. Chiefs wound up. So basically, Chiefs didn't score in the first. Chargers did. They scored 7 points. Then the Chiefs scored 6 in the second, 6 in the third, and 9 in the fourth. Then you have the Chargers going 7 in the first, 6 in the second, 7 in the third, 7 in the fourth. So this game pretty much wasn't too bad. You gotta love that. You know what I mean? You definitely love exactly what you saw from both squads. Definitely a well-fought game. Let me share the screen with y'all. And I think it's yep. All right. So Kansas City passing. Scroll up a little bit. Kansas City passed Patrick Mahomes 24 39, 258 yards, and 1 TD. Not Patrick Mahomes like by any stretch of the imagination. Justin Herbert, he was 25-34, 318 yards, and 3 TDs. Now, typically, I'm not going to lie to you. Typically, the numbers would be flipped, and you would see Patrick Mahomes with the dub. But hey, this tells you that wasn't too bad. So there was a collective effort of carries with Mahomes leading the way. He had 6 carries for 57 yards. Isaiah Pacheco, 5 carries for 25 yards. And then Kareem Hunt, 5 for 16. So they totaled 98 yards. So they didn't give up 100 yards to any individual rusher or at all. So good for the defense of the Los Angeles Chargers. You come over here, you look at it, you got Omarion Hampton, 15 carries for 48 yards. Justin Herbert, 7 carries for 32 yards. Look, Jim Harbaugh likes his quarterbacks to be mobile. If they got to get out there and boogie, they can boogie. Don't get me wrong. It's good to stay in the pocket and do everything you're supposed to do. But at the end of the day, hey, if you got to go, you got to go. And then, of course, Najee Harris with 1 carry for 5 yards. Just a couple little stuff. So neither team allowed a 100-yard rusher. They only had 90 yards in total, and their main running back, who was averaging 3.2 yards a carry, which isn't bad, but, you want to always have your average up at least 3.9 to 4 yards a carry. So that tells you that. And then this right here, Najee Harris, that tells you something is wrong with that man's eye, because there ain't no way in heck you got Omarion Hampton, a young rookie, starting over Najee Harris, who definitely had everything going when he came in, but it is what it is. So then you take a look at the receiving. Hollywood Brown, 10 catches on 16 targets, 99 yards. Juju Smith-Schuster caught all 5 of his targets for 55 yards. Travis Kelce, 2 catches on 4 targets for 47 yards and 1 TD. And he took a nasty hit that had Taylor Swift. Oh, my God. Is Travis okay? Heard they went and got engaged. Congrats to them. Go ahead and marry that little toothpick if you want to. Ain't gonna be no cushion for the pushing on that one. And then you got Tyquan Thornton, 2 for 41. The rest of it is all mediocre stuff. Only touchdown was Travis Kelce. Then you got, you move over to Los Angeles receiving. You got 2 touchdowns caught by Quentin Johnston. 5 catches on 7 targets, 79 yards. That's a damn good game. Fantasy owners will love that. Lad McConkey, 6 catches, 74 yards. The man that came back home, Keenan Allen, 7 catches, 68 yards, 1 TD. Keep telling people that Keenan Allen ain't done. He is still a viable threat as a receiver. You just got to get him a quarterback who can get him the ball. Keenan Allen ain't too bad, man. He ain't too bad. Then you had Tyler Conklin, 2 for 50. Will Dissly, 1 for 18. So on and so forth. You get your 318. You get your total of 3 touchdowns. You know what I mean? So Keenan Allen caught 7 out of his 10 targets. Ain't bad. 6 out of 9 for Lad McConkey. Ain't bad. 5 out of 7 for Quentin Johnson. Ain't bad. So you see, they're doing some things. Both looks like Creed Humphrey fumbled and Patrick Mahomes recovered it. Then you had Tyler Conklin. He fumbled, but it wasn't lost. He looks like he was one of the recover his own fumble. We slide over to the defense, and we take a look at what it was. Chamari Connor. I have no idea who that is, but he had 10 total tackles. Nick Bolton with 8. Jalen Watson with 6. Drew Tranquil with 5. McDuffie with 5. So on and so forth. Drew Tranquil had 2 sacks, along with George Karlaftis getting 1. So they had 3 sacks as a total. And then when you flip over to the Chargers, you got Alohi Gilman. He had 9 catches. You had Deion Henley, son of Big U from the Rolling 60s Crips. He had 8 tackles and a sack. Derwin James with 7 tackles, and you got Troy. You just keep on going with that. Basically, Henley had the sack, and then Deshaun Hand had the other sack. So they wound up with 2. They had 3 TFLs for the most, 4 passes defense. 2 of them at the hands of Tier Hart. Never heard that name before. That's definitely a little bit different. No interceptions thrown by either quarterback. He had a couple kick returns here and there, a few different things. But, hey, man, at the end of the day, you got to look at it like this. And then you go to Kansas City's kicking, Matt Ariza. He was, let's see, that's punting, my bad. Harrison Butker, 3 for 3 on his field goals, but he did miss the extra point. So that tell you a little something. And then, of course, Cameron Dicker, he was 2 for 2, 3 for 3 on his extra points. So he didn't stop beat, he didn't miss anything. So that tells you straight up, what I'm saying, this was a pretty good game. I didn't watch the whole thing. I was working. But not too bad. That gives them a chance to be able to try to get home from Sao Paulo, get back to, for the Chiefs to get back to some Missouri time and whatnot, and continue to get back, reacclimated to American time. It's a little rough when you're trying to do these things, and you got to travel all over the world because the NFL is ever expanding. So you got a game in Sao Paulo, you have games in Mexico, you have games in the UK. They working on putting games wherever they can put them, because it's just based on just revenue stream. For the players, it's a little rough because of how far you got to travel. And you don't anticipate traveling outside the country typically during a normal NFL season. Previously, the stuff wasn't happening. It was just more recent that they, started to go ahead and do the international games. So it's a little rough on your body, and it's hard on timing, but it kind of is what it is. So we're done with that. Chiefs beat the Chargers. They are atop the AFC West, by themselves for the moment until we finally get, the rest of the games played, obviously. So this game is about the Seahawks and the 49ers. Now, here's the thing. This is what we do. When it comes to the Hawks, when it comes to the Niners, we don't like each other. We never have. But one thing I can tell you is we have a fan base and we call them the faithful. They have a fan base, they call them the 12s. Here's the thing. 12s and die, okay? 12s ain't the same 12s they used to be years ago when you go into that stadium and could not hear a darn thing. I will tell you this. The forecast when you look at how, the fan outcome, when you look at the ticket sales, heavy on us right here. We're there. So we ain't playing. You know, shout out to all the Seahawks content creators. Shout out to the NFC West Roundtable. Shout out to my man Jesse. Shout out to my man Steezy A. Smith out there doing his thing. You know what I'm saying? Out there balling. He's delving deep with the Seattle team, and he's been doing a lot for them, and that's fantastic. Gotta love it. But when it comes down to it, of course, this is a hated rivalry. This goes all the way back to the days of Matt Hasselbeck and Sean Alexander, all the way up through Russell Wilson and Marshawn Lynch, and Pete Carroll and all that, man. We go way back. We do not mess with the Hawks like that. We don't like them. They don't like us. Typically, this is something that's very much proven that, we don't really like them. They don't like us. But we'll get into it, and we'll go ahead and do some comparisons. Now, of course, you got the quarterbacks. You're going to start off with Sam Darnold versus Brock Purdy. Now, Darnold last year, everybody knows the man had think he had a 4,000-yard season, like threw over 30 touchdowns. Like, this dude's balling. Sam Darnold was balling, but Sam Darnold does what Sam Darnold does, and he does what most USC quarterbacks do in the playoffs. They disappear. And the reason why I state that is why I'm a UCLA guy. I have to talk trash about anybody who went to SC. It is literally a part of my DNA to not care for Trojans at all, period, unless it's kind of stay safe out there, people. But this is what I will say. When you take a look at it, Sam Darnold, Brock Purdy, you look at the history, you look at who's done what. To be honest with you, I'm going to tell you right now, Brock Purdy's a better quarterback. I'm going to take Brock Purdy over Sam Darnold. Yes, I am. And I'll tell you this. This is the reason why I will tell you why I'll take Brock over Sam. It's because Brock has done more, and Brock has shown us more, and Brock's given us consistency. He didn't disappear in the playoffs. Brock had been to an NFC Championship game in the Super Bowl. He did not disappear in the playoffs. So when you take a look at it and you just go from that standpoint, just along on quarterbacks, we got the edge. Everybody knows that. I wouldn't think that Seattle fans would think otherwise because their quarterback they previously had left in Geno Smith. Both of their starting receivers, and Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, are now gone. I don't believe Lockett is currently is with the team, but I know DK Metcalf is over in Pittsburgh with Aaron Rodgers and Mike Tomlin. So you lose your two best receivers. You reload by adding you basically say, Jackson Smith and Jigba, this is your team. From the receiving standpoint, you're the man. You're the number one. Number two, you go ahead and you pick up Cooper Kupp because the Rams let him go. And the Rams, who obviously now had Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. I'm sorry, Devontae Adams is an upgrade over Cooper Kupp, and he's got less tread on the tires because he didn't play much. He was with the Raiders, and the Raiders did much of nothing. So you just have to take a look at that and see what that is. But what I will say is, when it comes down to all of those things, that's actually not too bad. So you have to look at it when you're talking about the Seahawks, and we jump over to their wide receivers. Let's take a look at their depth chart outside of Cooper Kupp and Jackson Smith and Jigba, who are obviously going to be the main targets throughout the game. We know that already. But let's take a look and see what else they got, man. Because the issue with the NFC West and us as the 49ers, always that sleeper team that we don't pay attention to that gets us. So let's scroll up a little bit. So obviously you got Jackson Smith and Jigba here as wide receiver number one. You got Cooper Kupp as wide receiver number two. Now, we got Jake Bobo, Cody White, and then here we got Torrey Horton, and looks like Derek Young. I don't know. These people be getting me with these names, man. I keep telling people stop doing this to you folk. It doesn't work out like that where, what I'm saying, you're supposed to do it. I don't know why the screen isn't sharing. Tell me if y'all, what's going on, Matt? Tell me if y'all can see it. If y'all can see me sharing the screen, then cool. If not, I'm going to remove it. And then I'm going to try to do it again. There we go. Now the screen has been shared properly. I don't know why I was tripping. But basically, all of these dudes, I don't know who they are, man. I have no idea who they are. Let me see if any of these dudes did anything last year. So Jake Bobo last year played all 17 games. He had 17 targets. No, sorry, he had 13 catches on 17 targets for 107 yards and 1 TD. And then the rest of these dudes that are listed there don't even exist. They weren't with them last year, so these are all new people. I don't see any of these dudes on their previous receiving list for 2024. So I don't know. It is what it is. These are all new guys, so we won't really know what to deal with behind Smith and Jigba and Cooper Kupp until we see some of these guys get out there and work, see if they can do anything. I'm not sure. I didn't catch a lot of preseason stats on these little young dudes. As a matter of fact, let me check that. Let's see what we got. Let's just check some preseason stats and go from there. 2025 preseason. Give me just a sec, y'all. Let's take a look. All right, so Jake Bobo, he only caught 3 catches, 51 yards. He did have 2 TDs. Torrey Horton, 4 catches on 9 targets. He had 1 TD. Okay. So you got a couple little dudes making some noise, but nothing too crazy. They didn't really do a lot. Bobo played all 3 preseason games. Torrey Horton played 2. So, it's not too bad. You know what I mean? It ain't too bad. So we definitely have those dudes to look out for, but we're not really sure, what to expect of them. Of course, their offensive line is solid. It ain't nothing to gush out over, but they do have a solid offensive line. Then you go ahead and you take a look at their running backs. You got Kenneth Walker III, Zach Charbonnet. Let me tell y'all something right now. We need to be worried about Charbonnet. We all know Kenneth Walker III going to hit that injury list like a freight train at some point during this season. He always does. He's never fully healthy for a season. It's always how it works. And Zach Charbonnet, oddly enough, you're going to see him and Sam Darnold have a little bit of an issue. Why? Charbonnet is UCLA, Darnold is USC. So you're going to see that in the locker room for Seattle fans. If you see them having a little back and forth or whatever, it's all fun. It's all love. But I'll tell you right now, at the end of Steve-O, Jason, what's going on? Bobo has a good cut. Oh, there you go. See, look, man, this is why you got to love the people to watch you, because they bring up, what I'm saying, they bring up facts. Bobo, right there. There it is. Charbonnet, yep, see, my chat beats me to it at times. But Zach Charbonnet is going to be the running back that I'm worried about. I'm not worried about Kenneth Walker. Honestly, I'm not. Because I already know one or two things. He either going to get injured or he's just not going to do much. He doesn't do much. But Charbonnet against us has a fairly good reputation when it comes to playing us. And he is definitely a very viable back. So that is something we will have to watch out for. Zach Charbonnet is definitely somebody you keep your eye on. And our run defense was not necessarily best. So we are definitely trying our best to make sure that, we get things going. So, tight end, they got A.J. Barner. I have no idea who that dude is, and he wasn't there last year. So it's a new tight end, and all I got to say is his name ain't George Kittle, so he ain't that dang good. That's all that's just me. I'm being a homer with that one, but I can say that because I got the best tight end in football, and you don't. So when you take a look at it, if you want to go ahead and go with the running backs, you could possibly give it a little 50-50. But we'll go over that in a second. So don't really know who their tight end is. Don't know how much of a threat he's going to really be as far as that's concerned. So I'm not stressing the tight end. So basically, we'll just focus on Charbonnet, Darnold, Kupp, and Smith and Jigba. We'll do that. Those are going to be the main guys that we have to stop. That's obvious. Those are the dudes. Let's get it out the way. Let's flip over to their defense. So you got Jaron Reed, Byron Murphy is nose tackle, Leonard Williams, DeMarcus Lawrence, Ernest Jones, Trice Knight. You got your linebackers in Nwosu Boye-Mafe, Derek Hall, Connor O'Toole. You got your DBs, Devin Witherspoon, Reek Woolen, Kobe Bryant, and Julian Love. And a lot of people were talking about this dude, Nick Emanwari. Everybody seems to like him because of what he did during the preseason and whatnot. Here's the thing: Seattle does have a viable crop of guys there, man. Their safeties are nice. Their DBs are nice. I'm not going to be mad at him. You know what I'm saying? It is definitely something that you got to be mindful of. You know, these DBs are not trash. They're actually fairly good. Devin Witherspoon is a respectable DB. So is Tariq Woolen. You got to love that. Kobe Bryant is definitely viable. And Julian Love, he does his thing. And I know everybody is clamoring to see this kid. But we'll see what happens. You know what I'm saying? Special teams are not really going to worry too much about. Obviously, they got their kicker, their punter. That don't mean much of nothing when it comes down to it. But those are the people from Seattle that we're going to have to pay a little bit of attention to. It's just your basic starters. There's no one else. We're not far enough into the season where there can be sleeper guys that I got to look at and worry about that have burned us before, anything like that. And there's so much turnover on the Seattle team, just as there's turnover on our team, that, you know, basically everything is brand new. They're literally starting the season fresh. You know, they retooled just as we had to do the same. So, you know what I'm saying? They basically said out with the old, in with the new. And when I say out with the old, I mean out with Geno Smith, out with Jackson Smith, not JSN, out with Geno Smith, out with DK Metcalf, out with Tyler Lockett. You know, they just basically said we're moving in a new direction. We're going to put this game in the hands of Sam Darnold for the moment. We're going to keep Drew Lock here, and we'll see if we draft a quarterback that'll take us to the future. Because if they felt that way about Drew Lock, they would have never picked up Sam Darnold. It's just how that works. You know what I mean? So right now, Sam Darnold knows and understands he's getting paid big bucks to be a bridge quarterback. And the same can be said of Drew Lock. He's getting paid nice money to be a backup quarterback. But you want to make sure that it's you know, that you pay close attention to these dudes. Their leading sack guy is back when it comes down to it. When you take a look at their go-getter, which was Leonard Williams, he's definitely back. He's still there. And then the next guy for them that had any sacks was Jaron Reed. He's still there. So you got your leading sack people from last year when it comes down to it. You know what I mean? Their interception guys, let's see, they only had 13 last year, so they didn't have a ton of interceptions. They had a nice amount of pass defense, but 3 interceptions by Reek Woolen, 3 interceptions by Julian Love. So you see those dudes are still there. So they kept, they held over, most of their good dudes. Kobe Bryant had 3 picks himself. So you see those dudes are still there. You see those are the guys that make stuff happen. You know what I mean? And I'm going to give y'all a startling statistic. And this is why I say we need to be worried about Charbonnet versus Kenneth Walker. Zach Charbonnet had 569 yards on the season. Guess how much Kenneth Walker had? 573. So you have to look at it. 4.2 yards per carry by Zach Charbonnet. 3.7 by Kenneth Walker III. 8 TDs by Zach Charbonnet. 7 by Kenneth Walker. So you just slowly see the progression of this dude, things being taken over, and that's just what it is. I would say personally, if you want, Jackson Smith-Njigba, 1,000-yard receiver, 1,130 yards last year. He led the team. He had 6 TDs. DK Metcalf, just under 1K, and he only had 5 touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? The next guy, A.J. Barner, the tight end, was the dude who caught, 4 TDs for him. So the dude caught a couple touchdowns, but he didn't really get targets like that. He only had 38 targets all year long. This is a 17-game season. All you have is 38 targets. All right, so those are the things, those are the numbers that you got to look out for. Of course, you pay attention to the people that you need to pay attention to. You got to be mindful of their secondary. Their front 7 is good. But, you know what I'm saying? We got some people too. And the 49ers look pretty good. You know what I'm saying? Last season was really bad. Obviously, we all love to forget that. So let's go ahead and talk about the San Francisco 49ers. What's going on, Tommy? Jason, what? I guess. I hopefully feel that we do stop the run. The thing with me is I got to see who our starters are because they haven't necessarily named them as of yet. You know what I'm saying? It's a little bit different. But what I can say is, of course, most of the usual suspects are back. The only issue we have really is who is our left guard. I'm pretty sure it's Ben March. So 49ers offensive line, we just got to hope they hold up, man. I heard that Kyle wants Juwan Jennings and Colt McKivitz around for a long time. I don't want Colt McKivitz around for no long time for right tackle. I need Colt McKivitz to sign that contract, Trent Williams to retire. We slide Colton over at left tackle, and we'll be fine. And the reason that I say slide Colton at left tackle is because that was his natural position coming out of college. He played all over the line, but he's a better left tackle than he is a right tackle. When he spelled Trent Williams a couple of years ago for a few games at left tackle, he did a really good job. People, please go back and find those games and watch them. I'm telling you the truth. Colt McKivitz is trash right tackle. He's actually great as left tackle. And we've been fortunate to be able to transition from one Hall of Famer to another. We had Joe Staley. When Joe Staley left, Trent Williams slid right in there. You know what I'm saying? So we've been very fortunate when it comes to protecting the blind side of our quarterback. But the main issue is that the rest of the line, you got to continue to solidify. No one, the fans don't believe in Jake Brendel as a center. I can tell you right now, if you ask any real 49 fan that actually watches the game and low-key obsesses over it, they're going to tell you the only two true starters that the 49ers have on their offensive line are Trent Williams and Dominic Cooley. Everybody knows this. This is the situation. This is just how this works. It's not going to change. It is what it is. So when it comes down to it, once again, we have to see what we can do. We're going to have to see what we can do. And I think that our offensive line will hold up. I do believe the starting offensive line is going to be Trent Williams, Ben Barch, Jake Brendel, Dominic Cooley, and Colt McKivitz. And then in the backfield, obviously, you're going to have Juice. You're going to have CMC. Now, I'm going to talk about CMC. And here's my thing. Everybody is like, don't make a big deal of it. It's not that, it's not a real problem. It's not an issue. When you talk to CMC, he's like, yeah, I'm just smart about it. Everything's fine. I feel 100%. If you was 100%, you finish the practice. If you were 100%, there wouldn't be management. You're not 100%. You're probably at about 80 at best. And you felt that tightness again. And you used caution. So shout out to Christian McCaffrey for using caution and protecting himself from himself. And openly stating, yeah, in the past, I would have just kept going and probably injured myself. You know what I'm saying? So it definitely works. No, I don't think so. And here's the reason why. I'll tell you this. Malfair, what's happening with you? Looks like you are new to the channel. If you are, definitely hit that like and subscribe button. Tell a friend, tell another friend. So this is why I would say that McCaffrey isn't going to sink our season, because we still have other viable backs behind him. We still have Isaac Guerrero. We still have Brian Robinson Jr. I think Jordan James is not going to be up, obviously, because, if you go with three backs, you go Christian, Brian, and Isaac. They're not going to have four backs up on the active roster. And Isaac most likely will wind up playing special teams anyway. But here's the thing for me. I don't think that Brian Robinson Jr. is a bad back. I think he's a very good back, and I think he can flourish in the system. If there is one thing, I'll just state this. If there's one thing people know about me, is they know I don't care for Kyle Shanahan. I don't like him. I don't feel like he's, the guy to get us to the Super Bowl win, because he got us there twice and we failed both times. I know it's the players on the field that make the plays and do things, but he still runs the team. He still is the head coach, so he has to do whatever he has to do. But for me personally, when it comes down to taking a look at this, Kyle Shanahan does turn running backs into stars. His system is built for it. Him and Bobby Turner, man, have turned some dudes into stars. Raheem Mostert, Tevin Coleman, Matt Breida, a bunch of unknown dudes that you don't know, and it just makes sense why they win. The scheme is built for them to win. See, my idea this year was a two-back system. CMC, Isaac Guerrero. So insert Brian Robinson, and now you got CMC, Brian Robinson. And my thing with that is, I'm thinking, okay, Kyle has now understood I've ran CMC into the ground as much as I can. Maybe I need to give the guy a break every now and then. So you got Robinson. You know what I'm saying? So you go ahead, you give CMC about 15 to 20. You give Robinson about 10 to 15. Typically, when we run the ball, at least I believe it's like 25 or more times, you usually have a really good record. So why not continue to do that? Why not make sure that you hold CMC back from himself and you spell him properly so when the playoffs come, you can run him into the ground? Because at that point, yeah, you want CMC going on all cylinders. Because the issue is a couple of years ago when we went to the Super Bowl, we put CMC out there with a bump calf. When we had a healthy Jordan Mason and a healthy Elijah Mitchell, which didn't make no sense. Why would we do that? So it is what it is. Yeah, Greenlaw's out. Definitely saw that much. There we go. Let's see here. Yeah, but it is. You know what I'm saying? We'll see. We'll see what we got. When it comes to the situation as far as running backs go, we hope that CMC is healthy. I think he will play, but I think he's going to be very, very mindful. And at this point in his career, he's listening to his body, because the issue is the position you play is not necessarily valued the way it used to be valued. You know what I'm saying? He came here and he kept getting paid because Kyle Shanahan loves him. You know what I'm saying? He loves running backs. And then on top of that, Kyle has a connection to his family. His daddy coached CMC's daddy. Like, these dudes are together. They know each other, man. These families know each other. We ain't out here lying and playing no games about it. So, you know, it's definitely a different type of thing. He says, okay, let's see what we're talking about. What you got here? Malfair. How do I feel about the rookies on the D-line? Which ones are the ones to watch in the game? To be honest with you, I'm going to tell you right now, if fully healthy, you need to watch out for C.J. West. That's a grown-ass man out there, dog. That's a grown man. C.J. West is going to definitely help us with the run, stopping the run. I wouldn't be too concerned with Alfred Collins. That man got to get some work in. He needs to. Honestly, with Alfred Collins, I think it was a bad pick, and I think they're going to redshirt. The reason being is because if you watch Alfred Collins during preseason, look, coaches have to say what they have to say. They can't publicly down players. It's a bad look for the team. It's bad for morale, all of that. You down a player face to face. You tell them, hey, I need you to work on this. I need you to change that. I need you to grow here. I need you to get better there. All these things you do in quiet. You don't do this in the open. That's bad. So when it comes down to it, I'm not going to lie to you. C.J. West, definitely look out for him. Michael Williams, I'm 50-50 on him because he did not play the rest of the preseason, and they held him out because of that same ankle injury that he had in college that held him out in several games. And this is my only issue with the Niners, and I'm not going to jump on a soapbox, but I'm going to just state this. They always draft injured players. They draft players with injury history, and they know about it. I know they know about it because the scouts tell you about it. You send scouts out to all parts of the country to go ahead and review these players, and then when they come back and show an injury history, you decide that's the person to go with. I have no idea why that happened. Last person we drafted with an injury history in the first round was Javon Kinlaw, and look at him. Didn't work out, does nothing. I'm not saying that's going to be Michael Williams. I know a lot of people like his height and his arm length and all this other stuff. I don't care about none of that if you can't stay healthy, because all of that goes to trash if you're not healthy. That's the whole point of it. But I would say, if anything, it'd be Michael Williams and C.J. West to be looking out for on that offensive line as far as any of the rookies. All of the other guys, you wouldn't want to be looking for. You're just going to be looking for vets because that's what we're going to have out there. But when it comes to that, back to the CMC thing, I do believe he'll play. But I believe they're going to use him sparingly. I believe in this game, because of that little scare that they had, you're going to see a little more Robinson Jr. than you're going to see CMC. So fantasy owners, I'm sorry. Unless Christian McCaffrey has a couple of big chunk runs and a touchdown or two, you may not get much out of him this week. I do apologize. I just know my team, and I just know how this dude works. I'm not staying. Drake Jackson, another guy, just never stay healthy, never did nothing. There it is. So when you take a look at it, that's what's going on with the offensive line quarterbacks. Offensive line, I'm going to give it over to the Seattle Seahawks if you're talking about, who's got a better one. Because right now, we just patchwork, man. And we've been patchwork since Forrester and Shanahan got here. Once again, not getting on that soapbox either. It is what it is. But then you go ahead, you look at the wide receivers. Now, here's the thing. Their receivers over there, don't have much experience outside of Jackson Smith-Njigba. Well, no, I take that back. So they got Jackson Smith-Njigba and Cooper Kupp. Those are their starting number one and number two. For us, it's going to be Ricky Pearsall and Juwan Jennings. Jennings was our leading receiver from last year. Go ahead and share the screen again. Let me see. Hope this thing works right this go round. And it's doing it. Is it doing it? Do y'all see it? Yeah, there we go. So as you can see, you know what I'm saying? Look at that. 789 yards, 5.2 yards to carry with 3 TDs. He's now over Minnesota. And then look at this. 84 carries, 420 yards, 5 yards to carry, and 4 touchdowns. But we went and got Brian Robinson Jr. Quick little soapbox moment. This is the reason why we don't need to draft running backs. You don't believe me. Go look at every running back we drafted in the John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan era. They never worked out. I have facts to back it up. You cannot dispute a fact. Every running back we drafted has not worked out at all. None of them. And please don't put in Elijah Mitchell because he couldn't stay healthy to save his life. That man had one healthy season, barely. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. But whenever we pick a backup from another team or something like that, you know, or undrafted free agents with Kyle will turn into stars. I said it earlier. So it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, there you go. Yeah. He has one route, and that's all we need him to do. Keep the speed, son. Be that go route guy. The only reason you're gonna be there. And most likely, what's going to happen is, unless he gets the proper separation, and him and Brock were able to build the correct communication skills between them to know where to put the ball so he can go get it. He's going to be a pretty big decoy for most of the season, and that's not a bad thing because you always want to have a deep threat decoy because then that opens up the rest of the field for the other receivers that are out there. So if you run a 3-receiver set and you got to take 2 dudes down the field, that leaves everybody else one-on-one. All you got to do is get separation, beat your man, and hey, here comes the ball. So when you take a look at it, that's basically what we're doing. You already know what the situation is with the running backs. So our leading receiver last year, our 1,000-yard best tight end in the mother-loving world, no one better. I wish you would try to tell me why Brock Bowers or Travis Kelce is better than George Kittle. You out of your damn mind. George Kittle is the best all-around tight end in football, period. It's like having the 6th offensive lineman. I will continue to say that until the man retires. That's how darn good he is. So George Kittle, 1,106 yards, 8 TDs, average 14.2 yards per catch. That's beautiful. Juwan Jennings would have had 1,000 yards had he not blocked somebody into next century, which is what he does, and we love him for it. But every now and then we want him to let off the gas so that he can continue to play. But he was at 975 yards, 6 TDs, almost had a 1,000-yard season. And of course, then I'm only going to talk about the guys that are still here. So we have Ricky Pearsall. He only had 46. He had 25 catches on 31 catches on 46 targets for 400 yards and 3 TDs. But those are going to be our guys, man. You know what I'm saying? Eric Sauerbrot was with us. Now he's over there with Seattle. So, you know, he's there. He's probably giving up some of the little secrets and little knickknacks and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure they share things. So you see who our leading receivers are. B.A., he only played 7 games. Of course, we all know exactly what happened with him. So he'll be back probably around midseason. I would say probably about it between weeks 4 to 8. I'm leaning more toward week 6 to 8 when it comes to B.A. and him coming back. But we have a lot of new people. We've got Russell Gage. Demarcus Robinson is on a 3-game suspension, but we have him. We have Jordan Watkins, our rookie receiver. So there are things that, you know, we got a couple of dudes here, but I don't see Jordan Watkins playing at all because he's coming off that high ankle sprain. I know I saw him practicing, but with high ankle sprains, especially for a rookie, give him as much time as you need. I honestly think that they're going to trot out Ricky Pearsall and Juwan Jennings as their 1 and their 2, and then they'll rotate the guys behind them in your MVSs and your Russell Gage and all that stuff. They'll move some dudes around, but that's kind of how it's going to be. Let's see here. Hold on one second. We got some comments here. Oh, okay. No, that's all good. Malfair. Who's your team, man? Tell me who your team is, bro. Every San Francisco. He said, let's do it. He said, go Niners, man. I appreciate you, Rick. Thank you, man. Thank you. I will always keep it down. I will always keep it dial out for you, my guy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Oh, yeah, man. I'm going to give up real information that I don't talk about just the Niners. I will be talking about football in general. You know what I'm saying? You're still, Mouth, you are a godsend. I got to ask you a question. So I don't like Kyle Shanahan. Not a fan. Just my opinion. How do you feel about Mike Tomlin? I understand the Steelers structure as it pertains to head coaches. Y'all don't move off them. Y'all keep the head coaches for at least about a good 20 to 30 every time. But how do you feel about Mike Tomlin at this point in his career with only one Super Bowl win and is continually being above 500 but never getting y'all another Super Bowl win and you're not winning in the playoffs? Please tell me in the comments how you feel about that. Do you still want Mike Tomlin as your head coach, or are you like, look, man, I'm done. Let's move the heck on. Just let me know. But there we go. Back to the 49ers. See? But why does she hate Tomlin, Tommy? Because he's not getting the job done. It's the same damn thing with Kyle Shanahan. Nothing different. So then you flip to the other side of the ball when it comes to the guys. And, you got your usual suspects. Fred Warner leading the team in tackles, the Amador Lenore being there. This worthless piece of trash that is Devondre Campbell. No one cares about him. And then, you got a little bit of everybody. Now, here's the thing. When you take a look at the sacks, Nick Bosa, our leading sack getter, is still here. Leonard Floyd, gone. We let him go. He had 8.5 sacks, but that's what Leonard Floyd going to do. He going to give you that consistently. 8 to 10 sacks every year. That's why the man maintains a job in the NFL. 8 to 10 sacks is not easy to come by, and it just makes more sense. So we got Sammy O with 3. We got Malik Collins that had 5, but Malik Collins is gone. Sammy O is still here, so we'll appreciate that. We got Gross Matos with 4. We got Kevin Givens with 3.5. I think Kevin Givens is on the injured list right now. But we got the basic usual suspects. We got a few new faces on defense when it comes down to it, as far as that's concerned. Let's see here. Let's see what he says. Tomlin is a top 15 coach, not a top 10 head coach. He builds talent well, but he doesn't treat his blue chips well enough, and they eventually will. Okay. So, Ed, tell me this. Do you still want him as your head coach? Or if a better head coach came along that you could start anew with, would you do that? But here's the thing. When it comes to our defense, we already know. So we got new guys. We got new guys in the backfield. We got new guys in the slot. So here's the thing. Our safeties are not the same safeties last year. These are different people. Malik Mustafa is still recovering from his ACL tear. So he's not going to be out there. I honestly think that it could possibly be a situation where we have Jair Brown and our rookie Marquise Siegel out there. Siegel looked great in the preseason. I love what I saw from him. Jair Brown looked a little bit, looked pretty good in the preseason too. I know they wanted to start Jason Pinnock, but if I'm not mistaken, I believe Jason Pinnock is nursing an injury, so I don't think he gets on the field. Because if not, I think it would have been Pinnock and Marquise Siegel. So we're going to have some challenges when it comes to our safeties, and I know they're going to try to exploit that. Why? Because these are guys that haven't been in the system like that outside of Jair Brown. And then when you go to the DBs, of course, I'm not tripping on the outside because we got Demo, we got Bernardo Green, but then you got to slide in Upton Stout at the nickel position. But as of right now, I'm telling you right now, Upton Stout is most likely going to be brought along because he didn't play much in the preseason. A lot of nursing some injuries as well. But I will tell you this, our slot right now most likely is going to be Chase Lucas. Lucas earned his way onto this team. He balled in the preseason and earned his spot. So that's exactly what I'm thinking there. TD, what's going on, baby? Nothing but love to you. He said, we can do a lot worse than Tomlin. I think I'd trade for 3/4 of the coaches in the NFC West right now. Hey, look, man. We could just do a switch. It's an even switch. We don't have to give up no picks or nothing. We'll take Mike Tomlin. You go ahead and have Kyle Shanahan. I'm just kidding, of course, because, I'm not mad at Tomlin. I like Mike Tomlin, but he can't get over that hump, and that drives me insane. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. So you said you make that deal? All right, look, Balfour, let's hit the league office. Let's talk to them to see if we can get these coaches. Niner fans are straight on me. They would. Oh no, they didn't believe me. They don't like the fact that I don't like Kyle as it is right now. They are straight on me anymore. But either way, just having a good time. So here's the thing. Your run game, I'll guarantee you this, your run game will change. It will change in beautiful ways. But when it comes down to it, when you look at the defense, so our defensive line, all brand new outside of Nick Bosa. These are all people that, we either haven't seen before or they're new or we're trying to mix them in, whatever the case may be. I do believe you're going to see a bunch of starters out there, a bunch of guys that have played before. You're not going to hit it. Kyle is very iffy about putting rookies out there. So let me say this. You'll probably have Nick Bosa. Oh, geez. I'm not really sure who's going to start on that. Damn. I think C.J. West gets a start. But I think you probably put Samuel next to him, and then, on the outside, they're probably going to try to put, Bryce Huff out there. So, the defensive line is just going to be confusing. I don't know who's going to start on it because there's so many question marks outside of just Nick Bosa. So we'll see what happens. With the linebackers, obviously, I do believe it's going to be D. Winters and Fred Warner. You know what I'm saying? But listen and hear me well. Nick Martin is going to get PT. He will. And if D. Winters ain't careful, Nick Martin going to snatch his spot real quick. I'm telling you right now. It's just how this is going to work. But Nick Martin most likely to be on special teams starting this game. So I do believe the linebackers are going to be D. Winters and Fred Warner. You know what I'm saying? And we'll see what happens. The defense is very brand new, so it's really hard to give us the W because the defense is brand spanking new. Brand spanking new. So we'll see exactly what happens. You know what I mean? But what he said, how will the Seahawks using your run game against you impact the game, and the Hawks defense practicing against outside zone impact this game? Here's the thing. Kyle Shanahan has about 5 to 10 different ways to run one play. That's that's one thing I know about my coach. He has a bunch of different ways he can run the same thing. It's just understanding when he's going to do it. But as far as the question of how will the Seahawks use our run game against us, they're not. People do spinoffs of what Kyle does, but they don't have it mastered the way that he has it mastered when it comes to that run game. I will give him that much credit. So seeing that, because our defense sees it in practice all the time, it's not really going to be too much of an issue. Outside of the fact that Zach Charbonnet actually is pretty damn good. I do see him giving us a little bit of a fit. Once again, not really at all bothered about Kenneth Walker. But as far as us, I think that we'll be okay. As far as their run game, we just have to make sure that wide nine does not allow that up the gut pressure and screw us like it usually does. Because that's the weakness of the wide nine defense. As far as for your defensive line, having your defensive end lines up outside the tackles, and then having your interior defensive line up outside the guard. So it leaves that gap in the middle for them to run right up. But I don't think that's going to be an issue. Hopefully, with the addition of C.J. West now for Collins, if he stops just being a big ass body and starts actually moving someone, pushing a pile, doing some things, then I think we'll be all right. I don't think we'll have too much of an issue there. Yeah, they do. They do. All three of those dudes have been here with us. They know exactly what it is. But what I've learned is even when Kyle lets people go and they go to other places, he finds some weird way to switch it up to a point where they don't know exactly what's happening. But they do understand things. So as you can see today, I got the X-Men shirt on. And the reason that I put this X-Men shirt on is because we're going to need the X-Men out there. We're going to need our Professor X, which I'd hate to bestow this upon him, but our Professor X is going to have to be Kyle Shanahan because he's the head coach. You know what I'm saying? Our Wolverine is going to have to be Fred Warner. We're going to need him to do that. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to say tight end is going to be Beast, and our Beast is George Kittle. So that's definitely perfect for him. Our wide receivers, you're going to have, I'll say this, you can put Dewan Jennings as Cyclops, and let's see, we could put Ricky Pearsall. Pearsall could be our Colossus. Even though he's not massive, a big dude in stature, I do believe that he's stone cold when he's out there, man. Like nothing phases him. So we're gonna need our X-Men to be out there and to be doing great things. You know what I mean? So I think that Brock Purdy is going to be our Magneto. Now, no, Magneto wasn't a part of the X-Men, but he is a part of that universe. And I can tell you right now, Brock needs to be our Magneto. We need him to go out there and have the mindset to strangle everyone and to throw that rock with precision and timing to make sure that these touchdown passes get done. I do believe that we win this game. I do believe it's by the skin of our teeth. I believe we probably win by about maybe 3-7 at a max. I don't see us blowing them out. He did lead them for several years, and him and Charles were one until Magneto, pulled a Malcolm X and was like, by any means necessary. And then, Xavier pulled a Martin Luther King and said, let's turn the other cheek, we shall overcome, all that stuff. But that's basically it. So me personally, honestly think the 49ers win this game. Once again, by about 3-7. So probably like 24-21, 27-24, something like that, or maybe even 27-20. Something to that effect in the 20s. I don't think we're going to go too much. But Will Bosa owns any tackle he goes up against for the most part. But I will say this. I do expect our X-Men to do the things they need to do. You know what I mean? I believe that we need to get them out there, make sure we get everybody involved. As far as a game plan, it's very simple. I would run the ball first, throw the ball second. Run the ball, set up play action, get Brock moving and grooving, make sure that he's moving around in that pocket. Don't have him sitting back behind that line too long to give them a chance to get to him because, once again, Seattle does have viable pass rushers. As you saw, Reed, Wilkerson, Boye Mafe, Seattle's defense is nothing to scoff at, people. They're solid. They're very solid. They're a good damn defense. I will give them that. But you said you outnerded me. I'm not that big in the comic books like that. I'm not. That's my brother. My brother's in the comic books. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Lord Bam. That's my guy. But he's the one that's big in the comic books. I know very little. I'm like a surface level kind of guy. To give you a context, Wolverine and Black Panther are my favorite characters. That's simple. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes down to it, you want to take a look at it. Oh, there you go. I didn't even think about it. See, he just gave me another character. You know what I'm saying? Oh, and Wosu isn't playing? Oh, snap. See, I got to get the injury reports before these things. But it's okay. That's why y'all are here. Y'all be giving me all the information. Y'all be letting me know stuff as it happens right then and there. But I do believe that the 49ers win this game. I do believe that we go out there and we outlast anybody. The number one thing that I will say is I need Kyle Shanahan to get in his bag, put his foot on the gas, and never let off. I don't need conservative Kyle. I don't need scary Kyle. Now, here's the other thing. Forecast is rain. Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy don't do good in rain. They lose games. They just do. This is just what it is. I don't know why, but Kyle Shanahan in inclement weather, oil and water, they do not mix. So let's hope that that isn't the case. But if it is, run the rock. Run the rock, protect the rock, call it a day. Throw the ball if the throw is there, if they're open. But other than that, be very mindful because that's just Kyle Shanahan in bad weather games. It's just how he is. He sucks at bad weather games. He sucks in the fourth quarter if he's going into it losing. You know what I'm saying? And obviously he can't win Super Bowls. But it is what it is. There you go. These are facts. Tommy watches. He does not lie. Tommy watches and Tommy shreds on the mother guitar. I'm telling you, that's how dope Tommy is. Oh, hey, look, but here's the thing. As long as they got their fullback, We got the best fullback in the game. He just don't use them like he used to. I am telling you right now, Juice is still the best fullback in the game. You just got to utilize the dude the right way. Juice can run the nastiest real wheel route known to man. Like the dude is definitely a true Swiss Army knife. He can do it all. He can run, he can catch, he can block. You know what I'm saying? Juice is a viable threat. Kyle's just got to use it. And that's the thing. When it comes to the game, utilize all of your weapons. Give JJ some targets. Give Pearsall some targets. Give Kittle some targets. Give Juice some targets. Give some running game. Like you have a whole 60 minutes to spread this ball around. Figure it out. Very underutilized is Juice. And I don't understand why. They paid him all that damn money and then used him as a glorified blocker. That was a waste of cash. They were starting to do that to George. You got George out here blocking for $15 million a year. Hell no. I can get anybody off the street working in the grocery store to go block for $1 million a year. Well, I'm gonna pay somebody $15 to do it. That's dumb. If I'm not using the guy and I know I'm not going to use the guy, I might as well trade him, at least get a pick out of it. I'm not saying I would trade George Kittle because I'll never do that because I love George Kittle. He's the best tight end in football. But I'm just saying it doesn't make sense. Let's see. Yeah, that's definitely true. But for me personally, man, the reason that I state the things that I state is because I need the team to start off fast. And typically under Kyle Shanahan, we start off slow. That's the unfortunate thing. I know people give the Cincinnati Bengals a bad deal for starting off slow, but they just seem to forget that Kyle Shanahan is the exact same dude. We've only started out fast, I believe, maybe twice in his whole coaching tenure. He's been here almost 9 years. So I think we had that run in 2019, and then there was like one other season where we went like 5 or 6-0. But for the most part, we start slow. We don't start fast. So nobody ever panics. You know what I'm saying? The faithful don't panic if we don't get off to a good start because we already kind of know that much. We see it. It is what it is. Now, last season may give you a little bit of reason for trepidation or a little bit of scariness, just straight based off the fact that you look at it and you go, damn, man, you know what I'm saying? It looked so good last year. Started slow this year. No bode well, you know. And another crap season for Kyle Shanahan does mean he gets fired. You know what I'm saying? I would love to have fired the dude already, but it ain't going to happen. So let's take a look. It says expect a slow start for the Niners, many rookies on defense. I think it looks like a 12-win season based on the ridiculously light schedule. I agree with you, but I'm not going 12 wins. I'm going 9-8, maybe 10-7. That's just me. That's my thought process on that. Yeah, with a normal schedule difficulty. Crazy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, there's gonna be that way. But I'm gonna go ahead and shoot it down there, man. You know, 1 hour of a show is definitely more than long enough for me to ramble on about the Niners and what we do believe they will do. I do believe that our leading receiver in this game is most likely either Juwan Jennings or George Kittle. I believe our leading rusher is most likely going to be Brian Robinson Jr. And I do believe that our leading tackle is probably going to wind up being Fred Warner or D. Winters, one of those two. Hopefully this D-line holds up. Do appreciate you for stopping in, Mount Fair. Have a great day, man. Good luck to the Steelers and everything they got going on this season. But bang, bang, Niner gang, we are out of here. Peace.